Hi, this is my project How Will Digital Revolution Affect Working Life? Thanks for watching.
When technology changes, the world changes with it. History has been witness to industrial revolutions that have taken place over the ages. The first revolution, triggered by steam power, proved that manpower is not the only way to progress. Machines joined muscle and reduced human effort. The second industrial revolution brought the world together with electric power. Leaps in technology paved the way to a new way of life and a global economy. Then, the computer changed everything. Information technology and electronics led the third industrial revolution. Workplaces became smarter, technology got personal, and communication went mobile. The fourth industrial revolution is bringing together physical and digital worlds across industries to create an interconnected global value chain. Powerful technology, incredible connectivity, and unlimited information is available at your fingertips. Breakthroughs like machine learning, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, blockchain, robotics, and Internet of Things are rapidly changing the way we live our lives. The consumer is at the center of a connected ecosystem that delivers personalized needs at any time of choice. Business leaders across the world are gearing up to be a part of this ecosystem and be omnipresent for their consumers. New players enter and disrupt the game every day while constantly changing the rules. Organizations must change the way they work and strategize while adapting to the new world. It's time to leverage emerging technologies and seek collaborative opportunities to provide new and personalized experiences for everyone. Digitalization brings the world closer by erasing physical boundaries and breaking limits. It's important to keep up with the demands of a transforming world that seeks access to incredible opportunities in the most intimate of environments.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you all here, and thank you to all our speakers because they did half of the job for me, really, with the presentations. I think from particularly what Lord Pryor said, you can get a grasp that I think we all know and we have felt that technology has a great impact on industry and our economies, but obviously on people as well. So I want to talk a little bit today about why are we doing this? And I'm not going to overwork the point. The point is, yes, this is all about productivity, as we said earlier, and it's all about generating new businesses and more wealth for the country. But ultimately, when we go home, it's about the certainty that we're going to have a job in a few years and that our children are going to have a job as well, that we can have a fulfilling career, rewarding career, adding value. So it's all about prosperity as well at the end of the day when we think about society. And I think we've heard, I mean, this has been mentioned before, we've all seen the scary headlines about the risks that technology brings. But I think what's important is the word risk, and we are the ones who stand between risk and reality. It's up to us to define and to craft and to manufacture our own future and the future of workforce. So I think today I really welcome the topic of the panel because it's all about discussing and taking up that debate about how do we make the most of talent. Now we've had, Jürgen, thank you very much for introducing us to Mate made smarter. And it's really good to see that a big part of that is about skills. So we've had already some strong recommendations about it, but we need to keep up the debate. We need to keep talking about this, understanding it, and being proactive about it. The more we prepare for it, the better we're going to be able to make the transition. So today, I'd like to set a few challenges that I think are important in this topic. The first one is that there's going to be winners and losers in this transition. And the challenge is, how do we transform those losers into winners? How do we make the transition easier? The review says that we're at risk of losing or displacing about 295,000 jobs. But we're going to create at least 470,000 new jobs. So how do we reskill people quick enough to go through the transition successfully? The other thing is, we're obviously making a recommendation now to upskill about 1 million people. And that's great news, but it's also very ambitious. What are the mechanisms that we're going to use to make that possible? The next point is more about the evolution of work. We've all seen it in previous revolutions. How is this going to change the way we work? Are we all going to be self-employed, for example, in the future? And how does that dictate the way the business model between government, industry, and society works? How do wages evolve, welfare, pensions, taxes? And the last one is again about proactivity. We talk a lot about workers as if they're the victims out there and we have nothing to do with them, but really they're the driving force behind this. How do we empower them not to be victims, but to become part of the solution and to be the masters of their own career development, lifelong career development? So those are the challenges I'd like to set to the panel. And just to finish with a thought, with everything is about whether you see the glass half full or half empty. I'm definitely a glass half full kind of person, and I think it's the same with this revolution. I think we need to see it as an opportunity because there's an enormous amount of potential in people and talent. Let's see and work out what are the mechanisms for us to make the most of that talent. Thank you.
German enterprises are facing a wave of disruption. Not only are technology and society changing, but the whole country's economic DNA is undergoing a transformation. We at Deloitte have developed 4 scenarios of what this transformation might feel like. Let's take 4 distinct perspectives on what the German enterprise landscape could look like in 2030.
Integrated Platform Provider. Hi, I'm Peter. I'm proud to be working for a large German mobility provider, which is what car makers have evolved into, if you like. As a student, developing software was my thing. So in this job, I have to stretch myself every day, as the main emphasis of my role is on developing software-based customer experiences. We have all evolved from being the legendary German engineers to being humble solution designers. Just imagine the faces of my colleagues at this once mighty car maker. My team consists of colleagues from different departments and across the entire value chain. Many joined us from smaller companies that did not make it in the global platform market. The good news is that the general level of skill in the country is good. Talent with the right skill focus from respected universities is abundantly available. Then again, older colleagues have trouble finding a landing place in this new world. My company tries to soften the blow by setting up lifelong learning programs. My daily work routine is fully digital, in line with the rest of our day-to-day life in Germany. That turn of events was not obvious 10 years ago. We all had to invest significantly in building up a digital infrastructure and had to accept the new rules of the game, which was painful at times. But now, I really identify with my job. I work for a global market leader that has a strong home base. In our industry, we set standards for the rest of the world.
Specialized frontrunners. Hi, my name is Mia. I work for a medical device manufacturer, a small niche player with highly innovative products and services. My employer is part of a big national alliance of healthcare providers that aims to offer integrated solutions. Oh my, this alliance is painful. We spend years making the various standards compatible, but it is the only way forward. The largest player in the market just went bankrupt. They made a huge investment in a connected care solution platform that never paid off. Such ideas are just too costly and too complex for a single enterprise to manage. Our alliance launched an integrated offering, and all participants now share the competitive advantage. However, if I am honest, I am envious of some of our alliance partners who have become specialists in the vanguard of their segment and are experiencing global demand for their products and services. In my engineering department, we spend most of our R&D budget on fulfilling compatibility requirements, a boring yet tricky task. New talent is drawn from inside our company. We retrain and upskill them since other departments have experienced many job cuts in recent years. But I really don't want to complain. With that alliance, I hope that we will be able to compete with our integrated solution at a global level, which would be a step up for us. For far too long, we have been watching from the sidelines. Copycats. Hello, my name is Anna. I work for a domestic consumer technology company. My department is called Product Innovation. However, we don't do any innovation in the real sense. As a trend scout, I fly around the world trying to find new goods and services that we can copy and adapt. But our market shares are on the decline because, to be quite honest, we are losing unique IP every day. The latest idea is to work as the extended workbench of integrated globally dominant platform players just to keep the company afloat. Even though I travel a lot, my firm is losing global reach, and we focus only on the domestic and a few emerging markets. Reduced R&D budgets make my job a vital source of development. Many of our competitors have moved to more business-friendly and technologically advanced markets. We use our scarce financial resources to increase our efficiency. Here, increased automation of processes was the big step. This meant massive layoffs across the board. A lot of my friends lost their jobs. But the future is not bleak for everyone. We urgently need engineers to drive our automation, which is a task our traditional workforce is not trained for. We try to participate in upskill programs offered by public institutions. Some of our smaller competitors can handle the situation better, as they can quickly adapt new technologies and service concepts. Maybe we will be able to replicate their success.
The Master Combiner. This is Alex. I'm a freelance designer with a background in customer-centric services. Various companies, known and unknown, work with me to combine existing technologies with proven customer-centric offerings. We copy approaches that already exist and focus on integrated, pragmatic offerings by using and applying other market players' portfolios. However, sometimes it's disappointing for me to see how slow we are to adapt new technologies. My clients are constantly trying to expand. They want to leverage economies of scale. The name of the game is to automate more and more processes to achieve efficiency. but this is accompanied by an increasing number of layoffs. The R&D spending of my clients is focused rather on evolution than on revolution. The same could be said about the German workforce as a whole, who are under great pressure from global experts. I did not choose to work as a freelancer. My old company went bankrupt. However, I feel lucky to have turned that corner. Enterprises need pragmatic thinkers with the right skills. People like me. Freelancing gets my foot into their door, as most firms now shy away from high fixed costs. More and more of my clients are smaller, agile players. They adapt more quickly to new technologies and develop novel service concepts. That's their way of competing with the big players. But they have a difficult challenge ahead. Developing integrated solutions is impossible for the small guys. I have come to like my job. It is always a challenge to combine different, existing technologies into customer-centric offerings.
These are 4 different scenarios that show how differently the future for German enterprises might play out. The choices companies make will have an impact on people like Peter, Mia, Anna and Alex. At Deloitte, we observe trends and events happening right now which could take us into any one of these futures. Are you ready to place your bet?
If you're watching this, you're among the 3% of people that understand that the future of work is going to look very different from what it is now. So keep watching. Let's see where we're heading. It's also exciting, right? Siri will recognize your voice even if you're 5 meters away from your phone. That new chatbot feels totally real. Self-driving cars are no longer fiction. You can analyze your DNA. You tried flying that drone for the first time, and you're thinking of buying a smart speaker to make your life so much easier. A few years from now, and that's something like 3 years, not 30, artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, mass 3D print, biotechnology, chatbots, virtual reality, deep learning, drones, augmented reality, smart objects will all be deeply enrooted in our everyday lives. Just like computers, phones, or electricity are for us today. Oh well, is this really gonna happen? And if it does, you'll adapt when the time comes, right? Life is good. You love your job. You've been working for this established company for a few years. You're comfortable in your position. You know what you're good at. People like you, and that last presentation you gave got you some amazing reactions. You're safe with your company. In the meantime, you see an article or two speculating on the future of jobs. McKinsey published a report stating that 45% of all current tasks could be automated with present technology. The World Economic Forum estimates that 33% of jobs in 2020 don't even exist yet. But what do they know, right? You've got time. Oh look, the supermarket just introduced self-cashier machine. You're at the airport checking in luggage. What the heck happened to all the real people at the check-in desk? Gone. Replaced by machines. But it's only the low-skilled jobs, right? Nope. Think again. In 2012, there were 150,000 humans working on Wall Street. 3 years later, automation has cut that number down to 100,000. That's 1/3 gone. But it's only the mathematical and scientific jobs, right? Nope. Think again. This Japanese insurance company, Fukuoka Mutual Life Insurance, is already replacing all its human insurance claim workers with an AI system that will handle customers more efficiently. See these articles? They're written by algorithms, and we can't tell the difference with human written content. And thinking of converting yourself to being an online poker player? Too late. There's an AI that can already beat humans at it. Most journalists, tax consultants, marketeers, technicians, knowledge workers, lawyers, even the person editing this video right now will to some extent have been impacted or automated by technology in a couple of years. And what have you been doing? Probably watching Netflix. And the problem is, the machines don't wait. And the machines, they don't watch Netflix. So what are the forces at play here? Basically, there's 10 million developers out there using increasingly simple and cheap technology to build new products and services. Some as young as 12 are already coding the future. Even that safe company you work for is increasingly under outside threat. And it's not just the Google, Amazon, Facebooks, and Apples of the world that I'm talking about. There are now tens of thousands of startups out there eating away at all sorts of jobs. Now, are they creating many jobs in the process? Let's look at some stats. Travel a bunch of years back to when Kodak ruled the world of photography. They were worth $38 billion and employed 140,000 people. That's approximately $270,000 per employee.
Our people work with pride to make Kodak a creative, and innovative company.
Fast forward to recent times, YouTube sold for $1.65 billion with a mere 65 employees. That's $25 million per employee. Instagram, which had 13 employees and was sold for $1 billion. That's $77 million per employee. WhatsApp sold for $19 billion with 55 employees. That's a staggering $345 million per employee. So how is this all possible? Technology has allowed the emergence of what we call exponential organizations. These are exponentially fast-growing companies that leverage technology and require less employees but more tech-savvy ones.
You will find that we are technology optimists. We believe that technology is a major driver of change in the world.
And as software continues to eat up the world, more companies are trying to replicate these exponential companies, hire less people but grow exponentially through technology. As this happens, job roles are slowly disappearing and being replaced by skill sets. Employers require you to know an ever-growing number of new and ever-changing fundamental skills in order to use the technologies they've implemented. Master the fundamentals and you can master the rest. A digital skills gap is growing for both mid-skill and high-skill level jobs. Before you know it, you've become irrelevant. But wait, what's this doomsday message? There's actually a way to leverage technology before it leverages you. And in fact, it's never been easier to do so. This might sound kind of corny, but it starts with the right state of mind. It starts with having a growth mindset, where you have the desire and the confidence that you can learn anything. Shift your thinking on how these technologies will rattle and mutate, but enrich your work life. Because yes, if you play your cards right, technology will make your work life and your life in general much, much better. The fact is that technology will actually remove boring, repetitive jobs from your way, but only if you understand the fundamentals. And you have no excuse not to do so. How can you stay relevant if you can't talk the lingo? How can you stay relevant if you can't execute? Can you talk tech? Can you talk APIs? Can you talk code? Can you talk data? While slow educational institutions are struggling to keep up, that's not an excuse. Train yourself, take your education in your own hands. Learn to code, learn about behavioral psychology, automation tools, playing with data, user experiences, be curious. And if you're an employer, train your people. Online and offline courses have never been more readily available or rich in content. It's time to build something. Your greatest credential in this new era is your output of stuff. Proof of your awesomeness. A website, a blog, a prototype, a simple data model. It's time to build cool stuff and showcase it. It's time to start learning. It's time to get shit done. It's time for you.
I think for young people today, what's clear is that they're going to need to continue to learn throughout their lifetime. The idea that you get education when you're young and then you stop and you go and work for 40 or 50 years with that educational training and that's it, that's over. All of us are going to have to continue to adapt, get new skills, go back possibly for different types of training and credentials. But I think what's very clear is that what our kids need to do is learn how to learn and become very flexible and adaptable.
The future of work that a college graduate is looking at today is so different from the future of work that I looked at when I was a college graduate. There is far less structure, there's far less predictability. You don't know or that you can invest in a particular set of capabilities today and that they will be valuable in 20 years. We used to be able to say, well, this is the career I'm going to choose. That's a difficult bet to make today with so much change.
I think more generally, what I tell students is that it would help if you had the skills that are required to deal with information, because those are the core skills that are necessary these days to help you learn new things, right? So this ability to learn things on your own, to some extent will be driven by sort of the core skills you have in how you can deal with information, handle and process information.
I think the most important message is you need to prepare for yourself. And I think if people are sitting back waiting to be candidly taken care of by a welfare state, I don't think that's a very good answer.
We actually found that, for example, something like 60% of all occupations have on average 30% of the activities in those occupations that are automatable. So what does that mean? It basically means that we're going to see more people working alongside machines, whether you call that artificial augmentation or augmented intelligence, but we're going to see a lot more of that. And that's actually quite important. because it raises a whole sense of imperatives. It means that more skilling is going to be required to make the most of what the machines can do for the humans.
I'm the mother of 2 teenage sons, 18 and 20, and I think about how do I advise them all the time. So what I tell them is it matters far less what they choose to study than the skills they build. I advise them to hone creative skills. I've actually got an actor and a musician, so that's not hard. But I tell them to think about analytic skills, creative skills, human skills, the kind of self-presentation, being able to connect to others, being able to sell in the sense of persuade.
They're going to need skills that they can only get by doing things. So every time they're given the opportunity to do something, they should say yes to it, even if it doesn't strike them initially as being exactly what they want to be doing.
So what are you passionate about? Does that map to what skill sets are needed? Become a subject matter expert in a skill set that will have demand, and then be capable of marketing and monetizing that.
Look for that first job to be one where you learn not the specifics, but where you learn the generalities about actually thriving in the world of work.
And then I think of my own son who's 16, and on the one hand, I think he should study science and he should understand systems, but would I tell him just to focus just on coding? I actually don't think I would, because machines are going to be very good at coding. Would I ask him to focus just on statistics? No, because I think machines are going to can calculate statistics and analytical things incredibly well. But I think it's important to understand how statistics works. Not that that's what he's going to be doing, because he needs to understand that and have a more system-level view of those things and be able to think in a computer science-like way and understand systems and engineering systems.
So actually the skills that I would recommend an 18-year-old think about may or may not fit in the traditional definition of skills is try stuff that you never thought about. And if you try things that you never thought about, you may find that you have skills and talents that you never realized you had. And being able to challenge your own assumptions about what you're good at and what you can do creates massive opportunities to put yourself on a path that'll make you happy and successful.